I'm trying to find the article in which Zelensky agreed peace negotiations. I just read here the articles, newspaper headline and so on. Stuff that not the stuff I'm looking forward to. Hey, it's too bad I didn't take note of that stuff. I should have. Zelensky is the kind of president that betrayed Ukraine on multiple occasions already in the past, and the media, the news that surfaced, I did went on blah blah, obviously nothing more. When I did found articles in which it was suggested Zelensky agreed would not negotiate 2014 border changes. Zelensky gave a green light to Vladimir Putin, personally gave him a green light before the negotiations even took place, for basically invasion of Ukraine in 2014. This was the article that was written, and not one article, but it was more articles that was written about Zelensky agreeing to the borders, post 2014 borders, that it would not be a subject of negotiation, gave Vladimir Putin literally guarantee that he could give him, the only guarantee he could give him, that he could give him a guarantee that 2014 post border change up to 2002, or I should say the pre-2022 borders would not be questionable. This, to me personally, was disturbing, extremely disturbing. And for one thing, I don't know how you Ukrainians see these things as, but I would not want to have a president like this. This guy always reserves the option to what I think every sane Ukrainian would not resort himself to any other option than to complete liberation of Ukraine. Now, after he is busted, after somebody busts him, yeah, he did get a lot of attention from me for that, by doing that kind of stuff. And it seems like he worked, because the next day he canceled everything about the so-called peace negotiations between the United States of America and Putin. That kind of politician places entire state at stake, a credibility of the state. But today I want to talk to you about something else. Yes, I would replace Vladimir Zelensky. I would have him replaced. He did so many fiascos, and this no-brainer is another treason. First of all, Zelensky is a nobody to decide about Ukrainian borders. The one to decide about Ukrainian borders should be Ukrainian Rada. And Zelensky, the only thing Zelensky should be allowed is basically take the most radical option, even if not available at the Rada. In other words, even if Rada would decide into concession of certain territory to Russia, he should be the one who should intervene in that sense, because obviously it would be a treason. This is a definition of the state, what I express to you here right now. In Ukraine, nobody knows who is paying, who is drinking. Actually, who is drinking, who is paying? Nobody knows who covers what for whatever, who says, does, whatever. Zelensky did criticize American foreign aid. Mike criticizing Zelensky, calling him a treason on the blog. It appears it wake him up. It was like a wakey, and you know, unfortunately, this is not the way it works. And then there is another thing. This is not a matter of Ukraine anymore, this thing. This is not Ukrainian problem anymore. Donald Trump is American problem. Donald Trump is a president, and I would advise Eastern European politicians to refrain themselves from getting into personal exchange with Donald Trump. And well, this is why I'm recording this video. I'm recording this video for people because I don't even trust politicians anymore. This stuff was all negotiated, including the negotiations in Saudi Arabia. They already had this stuff going on with Russia. They have all this stuff going on. Everything that goes on, everything is a circus, repeated from prior meetings, calculated absolutely everything to the last millimeter. And so I'm not doing a video this for the politicians, for governments to understand. Andrzej Duda, Zelensky, and Czech politicians, Slovakian politicians, Hungarian, Romanian politicians from Latvia, Estonia, which they all agree with me. I know that Baltic states agree with me 100%, because they know that stuff I'm talking about is not the stuff that matters. This is the way it's done. Today I'm going to resort myself, instead of blah blah about the who said what, to the very simple factor. It's a map of the countries in the area of Eastern Europe. You can see this, but I'm going to try to get like this, exactly like this. And we're going to have a little bit different talk today about this stuff. First of all, not too long ago, not so long ago, and the one talking to you, by the way, is the one who took down the wall inside of the Berlin. The one talking to you is the one who led Baltic states as first out of the iron fist, out of debt, out of the Soviet debt. And the one who is talking to you participated in the revolution in Romania against Ceausescu. The one who is talking, consequently, because of the one who is talking to you today, even the Belarus proclaimed its border. These countries were not liberated by United States of America. These countries were not liberated by Germany, nor Britain, France, Italy, Spain, Scandinavia, or whoever. These countries were liberated through negotiations, through the dialogue, during which I ran entire setup by myself. through actions which Western part of the world, whose ideology about freedom, liberty I promoted, have supported them. Enough for the people in Ukraine, in Poland, even in Belarus, and Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovenia, Croatia, etc. Never forget Tajikistan, Dagestan, the countries that were smashed afterwards, literally through treason, similar to the one we face today. Practically the same one. In Eastern Europe today is exactly what we're facing with in people of Chechnya, Dagestan faced off 30-something years ago. And also less. Actions in which people, even Russian people, saw themselves in. Even Russian people saw themselves in me. Through me, they saw themselves in America, in Britain, in Germany, in Spain. Talking about the ordinary people who wanted to have peace, prosperity. People who wanted to enter NATO, European Union, etc., etc., etc. Opposed to elite, which instead demanded war, treason. Destruction of Ukraine is first, through primary disarmament, nuclear disarmament of Ukraine, which Russians accomplished through the old pro-Russian circles, elites, and even own people inside of Ukraine. Through complete assurance, assistance, guarantees which government officials of United States of America, Greater of the Great Britain, Queen Elizabeth, therefore Charles, Andrew, and other monarchs throughout the Western European continent, anywhere from Scandinavia, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, France, etc., supported in exchange to what I have stated, the assurances they have given to Ukrainian side that in case of this breach of the peace, guarantees which Russia gave would not attack Ukraine, they would act in support to Ukraine. This is how West disarmed Ukraine as first. Today, the consequences can be seen throughout the Eastern Europe. Severe consequences can be seen in Ukraine. Economical pressure, everything else you can feel in your own countries, whether you're in England or Germany or Scandinavia, France, United States, wherever it could be. It's definitely economic problems you're facing because of also this war. You don't have to be in Ukraine, but Ukraine paid the highest cost of this Western neo-Nazi agenda in exchange for disarmament of Ukraine, for a treason, Western support of the treasoners, Ukrainian treasoners inside of Ukraine, which signed disarmament of Ukraine. That's how that stuff is done. A total economical war followed up on Ukraine with Western sanctions of Ukraine, economical isolation of Ukraine, placing Ukraine on the list as good as dead, disallowing Ukrainian economy to move anywhere from zero. Ukraine was the poorest country in entire Europe. The country which lost over 12 million people, their own citizens, before the war even took place in 2014. There was more than 10 million people that departed from Ukraine. We're probably talking about 15, 16 million people lost more due to economic war, Western economic war on people of Ukraine. So the first thing Americans, British, Germans, Swedes, French, Spanish, Italians did, they first disarmed Ukraine. Secondary, they went after Ukraine economically and exhaust one. They bloodsuck one, left one dry for the Russia to be seen as nothing other than prey. And it was prey. In 2000, since 2014 is when the war started to take place on Ukraine by the well-armed Russia armed by the West as much as possibly could be, advanced technologically, militarily, by the same people, the same Americans. Donald Trump was one of them, which demanded, he was just one of them. Unfortunately, there was Prince Charles, who might have more weight than Donald Trump absolutely did. And it was other politicians, all kinds of politicians, that demanded Ukraine to be disarmed. Including Joe Biden, maybe Joe Biden was maybe the first. Even more vicious maybe than Donald Trump. Democrats were more vicious than Republicans. It's difficult to tell who was more vicious with idea to disarm Ukraine. Politicians we no longer even see. Politicians, United States government made disappear. But who were there to arm Russia, technologically advance one, as much as possible so the future invasion would not be such a big deal. This is the video. This is why we are here today. We're not talking about negotiations now. We're not talking about this. We have seen enough. If you're an ordinary person from Ukraine, Poland, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Moldova, Latvia, Estonia, and Latvia, you have seen it enough. We have seen it enough. This type of American approach is leaving a traumatic experience on the people of Ukraine without absolutely any doubt. They are traumatized. They have been and lied and all kinds of stuff in between, and don't even see where in this world do they fit in the picture, because Either you go to the Facebook or you go through YouTube, you're going to see anywhere from Russian gangsters to Americans farming inside of the Russia. You're going to see giving you advice, a health advice, peace of mind advice, literally Russian gangsters and stuff. Russia being portrayed to the Western world as a completely normal country, facing off economical problems because of the war on Ukraine, also demonstrating people with different opinion, anti-war opinion, they found and manufactured literally by using me throughout the Russia. So they were using me basically for Russian people to see themselves in me and turn that back to the war on Ukrainian people, which is the only logical, irrational, and normal thing to do. But, there's no way you can be normal like this, because normal is not going to pay for what's happening in Ukraine, unfortunately. And with this type of behavior, we all know the next one in line is going to be most likely Poland. Before the Baltic states are going to be attacked, it will be Poland for sure. Just when it comes to Polish politicians, I frankly do not understand this type of, basically determination which Ukrainian people demonstrated for their will, for their independence, sovereignty, is totally different from the one which probably Polish people would, if they would face off with this degree of, attack. Poland would probably fall down much earlier than Ukraine because of its smaller size, as well as due to terrain which is not easy to defend, as is in Ukraine. The terrain makes things difficult to just advance. It's a bloody war over there in Ukraine. And so I don't understand why would it be that, if you when it comes to this peace negotiations, the border between Ukraine and between Russia, the border always went through the Don River. You see the Don River here? Don River, this is the border. This is the Russian-Ukrainian border. The real border is located on the Russian side. And this border along the Don River, it's also Donetsk, the name Donetsk in Ukraine. Half of Ukraine already was stolen by the Russians before the Ukrainian independence after the Soviet Union. Donetsk, the name Donetsk is from the Don River. Donetsk, Don River. This is what this is. This is at least where the border should be. On a Don River. You see Don River? This is minimum where the border should be. To me, for somebody to discuss that there will be possibility of giving away Crimea and Donetsk to the Russians is an act of lunacy. I'm not going to say it's not acceptable, because I don't even understand why would we be discussing such a nonsense. If we're going to work like this, then this is exactly why video. Now we need to ask ourselves some other question here. because really Poland itself, Czech Republic and Slovakia, Hungary didn't give any help, but Romania did, Bulgaria did something. You know, these countries are simply too small to finance the budget that would satisfy the needs, defense needs, against the Russian Federation. Look how big Russia is. There is just 150 million people, but there is plenty of oil, gas, minerals. Nobody has anything like this. The budget of these little countries in Eastern Europe, they're not so little, but still, they're very important countries with the Baltic states. Very, very, very important countries. The budget is too small to pay for defense budget that would have ability to counter Russian, German, Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, that's supposed to be Britain, call it England if you like, Spain, Portugal, French, this is Italy here, American, Canadian, Australian, and even Chinese and Indian budget. It's not possible for these little countries to pay for the defense budget that will satisfy the needs for defense against the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, you declared war on Ukraine together with Russia. Or I should say, maybe I could say Russia declared the war on Ukraine together with you. And for that reason, it makes no sense for me to talk about the peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, because it will be a sand in the eyes of not only Ukraine, but also Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, and these beautiful Baltic states right there too. It's a problem when Germans, I'm not so much British, but really here Germans, it really is a problem. Swedes, Finns, Austrian, Greeks, Italians do not remember the times of the Soviet Union. It's a problem. I have a problem with it. They continue to ignore laws, post-World War II treaties, human rights, which they reserved to themselves through the courts in Strasbourg, inside of the Brussels, through the European Union Commission, inside of the Washington, D.C., at U.S. Justice Department of State, did not recognize me as a human being, for 53 years no less, engage in war against me. It's a problem when these people from Leipzig, from Berlin, from Potsdam, Rostock no longer remember how it was under the Soviet Union and have absolutely no respect for human lives throughout the Eastern Europe. They are now not only watching us kill one another, but they secure to themselves liberties and freedoms, and the massacre for us that are left in Eastern Europe at our own stake. Zelensky did mention, and I really give him a plus for that United States of America did not deliver not even the aid that was promised and stuff like that. Really too late and too little. But these peace negotiations are about something completely different. These peace negotiations are guaranteed to the Russia for continuation of the war on every one of us. These peace negotiations are demand from us to comply, to agree on a mental illness issues with which United States of America, as a global leader of democracies, Strasbourg, Brussels, and Moscow continue to play with. They basically call us mentally ill for wanting to be independent here in Eastern Europe. That's what this is for me. If you propose to people that decided in 90 not only to go and become part of your society, but have gone to entrust their fate in their hands, in your hands, in the hands of your Western politicians, guarantees which you issued, if they would comply, if they would just step in your shoes and follow your steps, regardless of hardship, as Ukrainians did. Your peace negotiations is basically calling Ukrainian people in the face stupid, schizophrenic, mentally ill. And get ready for another one. This is the second one. The first one was in 2014, this one in 2022, and then it's going to be another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And you will continue to sell, earn money through the trade with the Russians, for which Ukrainians will continue to pay with the blood. And it's not about Ukrainians only. This is not even about disrespect anymore, because it concerns some Polacks, Slovaks, Czechs, Hungarians. They don't want to be seen in this stuff, but okay, Romanians, Bulgarians, etc., etc., etc. Baltic states. They are basically saying we're all mentally ill here, because you can do the stuff without us, and you did. In return for us placing ourselves in literally your shoes and follow your promises, your lies, to the end of the world. You did this stuff. You did. This is exactly what you did. Through a little equaling, these people here Why should you really? Why the fuck should you defend Ukraine? Why? Why should you defend Ukraine? I'm going to ask you. Why should you defend Ukraine? Why should you Americans defend Ukraine? I'm on your side. You're closer to the Russia. You feel more related to the Russians. You have your American farmers. They go to work, live to the Russia. Russia is a promised land. It's a place where you can make a lot of money with the oil, with the gas, with the trade, with the business. Why should you really? Why should you see yourself in Ukraine? The question is, why didn't you disclose this upon separation from Soviet Union? You will do it like this. Why didn't you do it back then? Why are you doing this now? This type of future is no future for any of these countries here in Eastern Europe. And for that matter, I would prefer to have all the Eastern European prime ministers, presidents, and others meet at a certain location and discuss these issues. Because it's this type of stuff that is being used for American buildup of wealth, Western European buildup of wealth, and interests, accomplishing the interests, global interests of their interest in Africa, such as South Africa here, even parts of Asia, and other regions throughout the world. In return for nothing other than a bloodshed against one another here in Eastern Europe, so that you can do your stuff whatever you want, whenever you want. In many cases, even in agreement with Russia, tit for tat style. This is basically truncating ourselves, going into a smaller and smaller size without absolutely any future, till the whole Eastern Europe succumbs to its knees or be maintained in a total poverty, pushed away, systematically reduced into nothing. Either serve your neo-Nazi, colonial, Adolf Hitler interests, which you still insist on, and it can be clearly seen where you are taking the whole situation to what levels, and what exactly you demand from us. Or us stepping back to the pre-European borders of 1990, re-establishing Warsaw Pact and assimilating back into the Soviet Union era style. It's either one or the other, but with what you demonstrated us here, your alliance, in my opinion, is by far not only too expensive, this is a destination of no return, it's a wreck. Based on my case, the world was capable to witness to, it's a certain death. This is what you have offered to me personally since 1990. This is what you now offer to the people throughout the Eastern Europe. This is what we have going on. You demand us. In my case, which you use me for espionage throughout Ukraine and throughout Russia and through Belarus and Poland and everything, through the beatings, torture that you instilled in me. In some cases, and throw me literally into the psychiatric hospital, so you can condition at even age 53 my sanity, praising United States of America overall, the friend that is silent, watches from the distance, and signals through the golden silence, while denying existence through U.S. justice, European courts, United Nations, etc., etc., blocking, doing everything possible to do as much harm right here, giving us support to the enemy right here in Slovenia. You, for one thing I'm going to say to you from my point of view, you're definitely not a choice for any normal, semi-normal human being. Anyone can tell based on my blog, stuff that people see is taking place. You are no choice for any normal human being. And so for that matter, I would like to see Eastern European presidents, ministers, and everybody gather together. And next to this so-called peace negotiations, because time to do this is today. Tomorrow is one day too late. Closer to the problem. This is big problem. Because it's going to nowhere. Stronger together. Stronger in unity. Let the mistake of 1990 never ever repeat itself again. Let the memory on the other side of the German border, where Germans lived in prosperity, freedoms, never ever fools us again. For what we gave away on our road to nowhere was our entire future. Everything is now at stake. Even stability, security of the world. Not because of the people in the United States of America, which is, when it comes to the white population, composed mostly of German, British. You have a little French, Italian, and other mixtures in there, Scandinavian and Dutch. For they cannot even realize here in Europe whom they are closer, whom they are more associated with. Just 35 years after the fall of the Soviet Union, they don't see no fucking difference between Ukrainian and Russian flag. What's taking place in the United States of America, it's a national matter. This is not Donald Trump who did this. It's the people of the United States of America who must be held accountable for this stuff. Don't blame it on Donald Trump. You voted. You went out there and you voted. It was a matter of priorities. I was not priority. I was hijacked to the United States. Before I was 1 year of age. Became even a citizen, naturalized citizen in the United States in 2000. Yet it was a matter of priorities to elect Donald Trump based on the sabotage which Barack Obama and Joe Biden committed. Don't even mention Donald Trump, whose presidency was in between. Invasion took place during Obama. The next one who took was Trump, who did absolutely nothing. The next one who came on a stage was Biden, who, based on the needs, did absolutely enough to return Donald Trump in the seat. Therefore, less than nothing. Don't blame it on Donald Trump when you were not capable to resolve this case. And not that you were not capable. You're capable. You're capable, right? You have people doing a Hitler salutes. At the peak of the national gathering, ridiculing laws, treaties. I will not say you could, you should. It was a matter of priorities. This is why I would like to remind Eastern European politicians that it's a matter of priorities to evaluate whether it's more important for us to continue to support growth of United States of America and our so-called Western allies for the cost of own extension, systematic extension, wars, self-sabotage, or to finally step away from those it was not post-1990 dreams, but I'm going to say dreams, illusions, which caused the breakdown of the Warsaw Pact of the Soviet Union. I am expressing the most sincere regrets to have wandered you people on the road to nowhere. It is the politicians that you still keep in your countries, whether that be Poland or Ukraine, who contributed to these problems. However, the Western allies did not live up to their promise. The peace negotiations are not based on economic struggle. They are not based on fear from nuclear strikes, from death. They are based on a total supremacy. They have a super weapons. I know so. Some of which are in better shape, abilities than those built by United States of America. You would not see them otherwise stepping on their own, in their own direction, on their own path, through Donald Trump, as is used to create great German military known as the European military. Europe does this only when Europe is 100% secure, have abilities more than powerful to defend itself. In fact, when it's so strong that United States of America instead becomes a hurdle due to its colonial needs that need bring to back to existence. I have a problem with this Just as I explained in this video, I did not know the whole thing will turn into direction like this. You must know, however, one thing about the western part of the world. What starts as a slavery, I learned when I came to work at Celebrity Cruise Line on a ship known as Meridian. It turned into a total massacre. They massacred my life. I worked on the ship in '95. It was 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, physically unfit, running back and forth doing stuff. In the United States of America, they have even uglier surprise for me. I learned what it means to be completely without a job after their contract on the ship, which many were not able to complete, not even after 3-4 days of work. Most of them left after 1 week or 2 weeks, the latest. You, ladies and gentlemen, in Eastern Europe, you're heading in that exactly same British, colonial, neo-fascist, neo-Nazi, Adolf Hitler direction, and they're gonna suck your blood to the bitter end, exploit you, use you, and spit you out, destroy you, annihilate you when the time is gonna come. And I would like, because of what took place with the United States of America in respect to Donald Trump, you together at some location and start to discuss these issues. For those of you that are willing to discuss these issues, I don't have anything else to add to this video. I'm gonna say to you, thank you for watching this video. Till next time. Don't get fucked over like Polacks did during the World War II with Ribbentrop-Molotov agreement, or through what we watch today is taking place in Ukraine. And we all know soon will in Poland, and soon will in Baltic states, etc., etc. For this situation, we don't have to thank Donald Trump for. We have to thank foremost to our neighbors, German neighbors, and their British teammates, who mostly compose white population in the United States of America, for not discerning the difference between the Russian and the rest of the Eastern Europe. For not appreciating security in Eastern Europe, to value their own freedoms, existence, due to, just as I stated, due to superior military technology, due to what they managed to develop when we were literally killing one another. The things are only going to get worse. They don't want us in their company. They don't like us. They don't want us. They don't appreciate us. They need us. They're exploiting us. And they're going to spit us. They're going to destroy us, annihilate us eventually. Every one of us. It's not the first time colonial powers have done this. We're heading in exactly the same direction. if Americans were to change their mind somehow, because anyhow, this is not the way to do it. This is not the way it's done, for one thing. But if the Germans, British, Americans are going to change their mind about all this and will step on the road to somewhere, considering our situation here in Eastern Europe, then you should give them condition before striking the deal with them of any kind. You should tell them, this is how it shall be, and you're not doing your job, and that's why it's not. But if you're going to start doing this stuff today, eventually I might grab them by the throat on time by demanding from them for continuation of the stay, for continuation of the partnership with the West, to secure you at least thousands of those American nuclear pieces they have in their arsenal. I think they have like 10,000 nuclear heads, whatever. They should give permanently, and at Ukrainian, I should say Eastern European, Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian, Polish, and Ukrainian disposal at any time in case of needs. They should, to secure this partnership with Eastern Europe, surrender at least 1,000 those nuclear pieces in your possession, so that regardlessly, independently from the so-called NATO, you could use them. So that something like Donald Trump never ever would repeat again. That's why emergency session, you need to gather and start to talk about these things to the TV, through the radio, through the every fucking outlet, everything you absolutely have, in the face of the people of United States of America, in the face of the people in Germany, in the face of people, in the face of the British and everyone else. To show the defiance, to show the determination that nothing is determined, including the borders of 1990. And those easily can go back to secure our future once and for all, contrary to what we witness is taking place today. They have done it, and it's not about we can do it too, or we will do it, or they're going to do us. And if they ask you why, you can look at them in the face and you can tell them, because you're not people. They are not going to resent you. If they're half normal, if they're half honest with themselves, they're not going to resent you for military assistance never delivered, military assistance always delivered too late, military assistance that fits literally into the museum without any, as they say in American military, boots on the ground, without any boots on the ground actually. The colonial powers remember very well, they know very good what it means for the eastern border to move at the gates of the Berlin, at the gates of Munich, at the gates of Vienna, at the gates of Trieste. They know very good what it means to have to do with the Soviet Union in Africa and in other parts of the world. West knows very good that without this part, without this Eastern Europe here, they no longer, they know very good they no longer are capable to win. In fact, they are losing as we talk everywhere. But with the loss of this Eastern European power they are playing with, their fate is 100% sealed and eventually will fail against the rest of the humanity. They know this very good. This eastern part of Europe became their crucial means of survival. They know this very good. Without Eastern Europe, there will be no Western civilization. Today, America is aware of this. Today, Western Europe is aware of it. It's time to make them understand. Donald Trump started, unfortunately, something Americans, British, Germans are simply addicted to. It seems like they love to cause harm, pain, suffering. Seems like they're addicted to it. Seems like they love to extort. This is just a way of life, and that we should get used to it. They must learn that nothing is guaranteed in this world. Not even the 1990 post-Soviet borders in Europe. We must open our minds to other possibilities. We were able to see how far German, British, American mental illness have gone. There are no guarantees. Something we have seen have taken place in Saudi Arabia is not going to repeat. Americans, make no mistake about it, they are testing their waters with the Germans, with the Britons. They are fucking around. They want to see how far mental illness can get them. They play mentally ill in your face, and they're testing out how far they can dig you, how far they can get to you, how far they can do to you. That's basically what this is. And this is about the politicians who negotiate all this stuff. We as a people collectively here in Eastern Europe, we cannot depend on this kind of stuff without knowing actually what's going on. As it does not contribute to any kind of tactics, it does not contribute to any kind of issues that would improve the military tactic and approach itself towards something that should be from the beginning already completely different than as it was. This is a mental illness there. The mental illness they are testing, literally testing on us to see how far they can get before somebody's going to do something, or maybe even say something stupid. You know, there's people out there, some kind of people that will lose their mind and state something. And you know, I frankly don't agree with this type of system. Why would you do stuff like this? As you refer to test waters and, you know, see who responds and this and that. No. Listen, people have stuff to do, work to do. And I don't know how it is really with these Eastern European leaders, but they must take seriously a different approach toward all this. The approach obviously was very wrong. And now everybody is experiencing this on their skin. From the children to women to elderly, people dying, bleeding on a front line, people even coming from abroad, good-hearted volunteers, whatever people they come, to literally sacrifice their lives and so on from, yes, and from Britain and from America and from whatever location. People who believe in something that I was sure it was there to the people and something we have in common. But, you know, there is just so far and so far you can get with this type of mental illness they do. They literally pronounce me as mentally ill, yet they are playing literally with the issues that you will say are completely mentally ill to you in the face, through the TV, through the media, through the computer when you read the media and so on. You will say, man, nobody stops them. Yes, exactly. This isn't about stopping anyone from anything. We don't have the right. I do believe in democracy. We don't have the right to meddle in anybody's business, whatever the fuck people do. But there is a way to take the destiny in your own hands and do something about it, rather than being even further taken advantage of, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, what they're doing is basically playing with the mental illness. They are the one pushing mental illness in our faces. Make no mistake about it. And there's got to be repercussions. There's got to be a cost for this. You must not get away for free with this stuff. It must not be given away as a freebie. They must pay for it. They must dearly pay for it. Even worse. And therefore we must be ready. And to get ready, ladies and gentlemen, we have to open our possibilities to the Russia. We have to sit at the table also with the Russia and start possible negotiations, treaties, separate from Western Europe, separate from United States of America, with Russia. If for nothing other, in the case of need. Nothing in this world is guaranteed, and as long as we will act as satisfied with whatever West has to offer, they will treat us like a shit. They will treat us like that. It is like this, that the one that works in all directions all the time is the one that wins. And you, ladies and gentlemen, across the Eastern Europe, you have not done enough. You have not gone to extreme enough to exploit your opportunities, your visions, and if necessary, other partnerships. If the West would manage to fulfill its obligations toward Eastern Europe somehow, therefore security, obligations, and would decide to somehow proceed on a same path with Eastern Europe as to what Eastern Europe have decided will follow, and did follow since the fall of the Soviet Union, since the fall of the Warsaw Pact. It would be the best in the interest of the Eastern European population that your military presence, therefore about the US troops, all other troops are the fuck out. And you return wherever you came from as soon as you fulfill your, as I stated, mentioned earlier, as a down payment, your security assurance. 1,000 nuclear warheads will do just fine. It will give a peace of mind to the people here that will understand that in the worst case scenario, if something like Saudi Arabia would repeat, they would have something they could rely on, thanks to Western partnership. However, because of your, whatever you want to call this, I think I was clear about in this video what this was. This was a serious attempt to undermine, underestimate, humiliate something like this is what I want to say and finish this video with. Would never ever repeat again. Nobody really wants to see you here in Eastern Europe. Not even your military presence. If you somehow, I hope you people will do what I stated in this video, and if they somehow fulfill just the basic of a partnership they insisted on upon fall of the Soviet Union, it will be just fine if you get the fuck out of here. You pay whatever is due to pay. It's not a fiasco. It was more than elections in 2024. If you just pay whatever you are due to pay to continue this type of partnership, that'll be fine. The fuck out. And that's how that stuff is done. In the face, without going left, without going right, giving you the reason why and how. But that stuff cannot be done if you people in Eastern Europe won't meet and start the discussions. To start discussions, to start to talk about the problem, means to visualize, see, and prepare yourself, and not wait, but take your own step in your direction. Basically, take initiative in your hands, rather than to wait for the handouts. I personally don't want no fucking handouts. These people feel they give handouts. They should pay for it. Better than friend in need is a friend indeed, and friend indeed in terms of Western world means to know the solution, not to seek the solution, but to know already the solution to the problem that's coming. World is no longer the one in 1990. China makes better cars than Germans make today. Technology completely changed. West heavily have dependent on Russian gas, Russian oil, Russian energy, minerals, cheaper Chinese workforce. The East, for the first time, together with India, with China, with Brazil, with other countries throughout the Southern America, with Mexico, Central America, for the first time became an option. And your aged equipment, museum equipment, lack of military supply, even basic military supply when in urgent need on a front, on an Eastern front. Lack of assistance, lies about assistance, and nowhere near assistance provided. Perversion in the eyes of those that suffer on the front lines, in eyes of those that lost their spouses, sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers, relatives. This is absolutely not the way. This is barbaric. This is not civilized. Scorn for human existence. Scorn for genocide within your Western democratic liberty values that I found myself hijacked, robbed of my life, enslaved for you with the neo-Nazi swastika, for you with your colonial past, with your colonial murderous enslavement past throughout Africa, South America, Asia, hiding behind me. I'm from Eastern Europe. Those are things for the politicians from Eastern Europe to consider at the same table. In fact, together also with the Russian side. Things changed enormously from 1990 to 2025. Things have drastically changed. And maybe it's time to reconsider those. We cannot continue anywhere. Then it's time to consider this common path before it's going to take for the worse and worse and worse and worse. So that's what I wanted to discuss in this video. Better than friend in need is a friend indeed. That basically means that you already have an answer, a solution to need. It's abuse. This is about abuse. Abuse. That's what the terrorists do. It only increases itself. It's only increasing itself. It's a type of psychology. It's a Central Intelligence Agency psychology. It's a terror. It's based on that terrorism. Some people call it state-sponsored terrorism. But this is not state. These are what's supposed to be allies, partners. We don't want to live in a world where somebody is going to pester, terrorize us, molest us with issues to which we have witnessed have taken place in Saudi Arabia. The approach Americans have taken together with the Germans and with the Britons against Eastern Europe is identical to the one they have taken against Iran. By literally radicalizing Iran, they destroyed Iran. They destroyed Iran through radicalization. That means through the stress, to the degree that people started to close themselves from entire world, became paranoid, live in fear, live in hatred, etc., etc., etc. It's time to say no to the Germany. It's time to say no to America. It's time to change the tables around, and it's time for another round of negotiations with Russia. Different kind of negotiations with China, Russia, India. I heard about there will be that third option they discussed about. There would not be in Russian and not American. There is no such thing because they partner with one another. For one thing, I'm going to say to you. Americans and Germans, British left no options. It can be seen in Iran how it was done. And therefore, equivalent to this type of partnership must also be the response for such undermining of basic human freedom. Because you cannot live in a terror, in a fear, in wars. It destroyed your sense for prosperity, for the need to develop. Don't want to close yourself. You want to become isolated, crazy society and destroyed as such. Time to sit at the table and discuss Germany-Britain-American partnership. Ukrainian people, people. Absolutely. Yes. Ukrainian people. Human beings. Yeah, they're human beings, they're people. They're okay. We like Ukrainian people here. We like it. You may not like them. You may feel closer, you Germans, Britons, and you Americans of German and British blood in the United States of America, to the Russians. But it's our job here in Eastern Europe to see ourselves in Ukrainian people, you see. Even that you don't see yourself in them. Even that you don't see yourself in them, it's our job to see ourselves in them. There is this saying in Slovenia, they say, kamar je šla bik ali krava, naj gre pa še štrik, nekako tako. Wherever the cow or bull went, it's okay also if the rope that is, on a bull or on a cow, they are tied with the ropes, right? It's okay if they go too, you understand? If they get lost, who cares about the rope, right? Stolen, lost, whatever. What you have done with Ukrainian people and what you're doing with Ukrainian people is what we're going to be doing with you. Whichever way Ukrainian people going to go, and we're going to help them go there, because we will go with them. Yeah, that's where you're going to go too, in mirrored sense, in an opposite sense. That's all I wanted to say really for this video. Ukrainian people, okay, they're people, they're nice people, we like Ukrainian people. There's nothing wrong with Ukrainian people. It's nothing wrong with Ukrainian people. Huh? I'm a little bit different. I tell you a little bit different story than your media, than your YouTube, the advice I get from the Facebook, all this. Your vision. We don't mind Ukrainian people. We like Ukrainian people. We feel good with Ukrainian people. At least I do. And I heard the Romanian people like them. And Polish people like them. I don't like the Polish leadership, really. It's poor. Ukrainian people are lovable. They're good people. They're not bad people. They're good people. We like Ukrainian people. I'm also here to tell you this. Ukrainian people, people. Absolutely. Yes. Ukrainian people. Human beings. Yeah, they're human beings, they're people. They're okay. We like Ukrainian people here. We like it. You may not like them. You may feel closer, you Germans, Britons, and you Americans of German and British blood in the United States of America, to the Russians. But it's our job here in Eastern Europe to see ourselves in Ukrainian people, you see. Even that you don't see yourself in them. Even that you don't see yourself in them, it's our job to see ourselves in them. There is this saying in Slovenia, they say, kamar je šla bik ali krava, naj gre pa še štrik, nekako tako. Wherever the cow or bull went, it's okay also if the rope that is, on a bull or on a cow, they are tied with the ropes, right? It's okay if they go too, you understand? If they get lost, who cares about the rope, right? Stolen, lost, whatever. What you have done with Ukrainian people and what you're doing with Ukrainian people is what we're going to be doing with you. Whichever way Ukrainian people going to go, and we're going to help them go there, because we will go with them. Yeah, that's where you're going to go too, in mirrored sense, in an opposite sense. That's all I wanted to say really for this video. Ukrainian people, okay, they're people. They're nice people. We like Ukrainian people. There's nothing wrong with Ukrainian people. It's nothing wrong with Ukrainian people. Huh? I'm a little bit different. I tell you a little bit different story than your media, than your YouTube, the advice I get from the Facebook, all this. Your vision. We don't mind Ukrainian people. We like Ukrainian people. We feel good with Ukrainian people. At least I do. And I heard the Romanian people like them. And Polish people like them. I don't like the Polish leadership, really. It's poor. Ukrainian people are lovable. They're good people. They're not bad people. They're good people. We like Ukrainian people. I'm also here to tell you this. Words don't mean shit here. 1,000 nuclear warheads and your military, your boots on the ground with whatever the fuck you have. The faster you get the job done, the faster you get the fuck out of here. Thank you. We can do it like this too. I don't know about the young people today, but people that remember the Soviet Union times in Germany and in Hungary and in Italy and in France and in Britain and in the US, where they traveled to Eastern Europe. It was very different. You got your spy that would follow you wherever the fuck you would go. And yeah, they could make you disappear at any time. And a lot of people did disappear at any time. And these are not those will be fake stories. Every trace about these people that would enter Soviet Union, or I should say Eastern Bloc, would simply disappear. And it was not for better, trust me, it was for the worse. Jail, prison, Siberia, death, executions. Very, very unpleasant memories. Young people today, they don't know anything about this stuff. They don't picture any of this stuff. But it's really not their fault. In this world, it seems have forgotten. And I want to ask you, Mrs. Merkel, why have they forgotten? What did you teach them when a Berlin Wall have fallen? And I'm asking the same Italian side. What did you do with your young people once the Serbia ceased to exist as your border in 91? Because it seems to me your people don't remember anything. They don't appreciate. You don't appreciate. None of you appreciates. I think it's a difference if you go to one country and you say you're going to build a factory over there so that you can make money. I think it's a difference that if the doors are open to you, if the people are open to you, if you can go there and you can marry, have kids in both sides of the world, associate with the people, with media, exist publicly without anybody going after you to hurt you, without anyone working 24/7 on a final solution, not for you but for the country wherever you came from. I think you guys fucking lost it out there in the West. You completely lost it. And you lost it because you're in denial. Definitely in denial of this case. Definitely in denial of the people who would meet me during demonstrations in Berlin. Italians that would greet me whenever I would literally walk people, their people, back from Yugoslavia to Italy. I think you're in denial, and this denial have grown into something else. It have grown into the fully blown mental disease. After all, you even called me. You gave them the right and you support it. About my being mentally ill. Because of some politicians that never even existed. Like Obama's. Never ever existed. In reality, made no difference in this world, for better or worse. For worse, yes, better not. We're not even part of this. You started to envision something, and it's not Obama's fault. You started to envision something that has nothing to do with reality and even abuse it. From your perspective, you started to develop your lie that have grown into something completely different. And if we allow this stuff, this stuff will, it's called insanity. It will continue to grow into a bigger and bigger and bigger lunacy. And that's exactly what you are doing. You're trying to make us forget about who, what, even as a human beings we are. Just as I stated, was done with Iran. Radicalized one to complete oblivion, self-oblivion. It matters. It matters, these things matter to the normal people, but if to you these things don't matter, that's a different story. But we, the people here, people should know. People should be aware of those things. People in Eastern Europe should remember those things. How was it during Eastern Bloc, Soviet Union, Warsaw Pact, also for the foreigners, when it comes to the human relations, interrelations, everything, and how it is now. And so if they don't value this, then you have to ask yourself, is it something wrong with you? Or is it something that you have not done to protect yourself? Traveled one time to Czech, Slovakia, to Bratislava with my parents. This was Yugoslavia, was very different, but still very bad, but very different. And we went through this Eastern Bloc border, official Warsaw Pact, and with a bus loaded with the people. What do you think that happened when we came to the border? We came through, I don't know which country. I think that we traveled through Austria, and then we entered Slovakia. I think it was like this. And what do you think that happened? Need to get the fuck out of the bus in front of machine guns standing. Children, older people, whatever. We went to Slovakia from Yugoslavia, practically from Yugoslavia, to buy, I don't know, a cheap cheese, clothing, basically to fuck around over there. Maybe even to have some other stuff, whatever people were doing. And we had to get the fuck out of the bus, literally in front of machine guns, so they could check the bus and so on, and collect the money on the side for whatever we purchased. This was actually on the way back. They were checking out and also confiscating the clothing and all kinds of stuff. Yes, then you're allowed to go back to the bus and go back to Yugoslavia. Now, if you said something or somebody did not like you, it's too bad for you, because in the Kirka Pharmaceutical or at a local Renault, let's say, and it happened all the fucking time. It happened all the fucking time. Older people don't even remember this shit. Now it's gonna be people that are 60 and 70 and 80. They will recall this because I say so. There was people that went to do something and they would not return for many years. Can you imagine that you're a father and you do something, work or whatever, and maybe you get into fight with somebody or something happens and they fucking throw you in the jail and they cannot get you as a country, and they cannot get you as a country because they work together. Belgrade don't give a fuck about you from whatever fucking country for many years, 5, maybe even 10 years before you come home to see your wife, your children. And you're nobody, you're just a fucking worker in some company, state company. Everything was owned by the state in Yugoslavia anyways. You people have forgotten about this stuff. It wasn't only with us, it also happened to Germans. It happened to Germans. They traveled to Berlin and they strangled them, they killed them. Business people, they went over there, it was like a promised land. Before the fall of the Soviet Union, they went there to do business and stuff. They fucking get them and killed them in the most bestial way just because they were Germans. You forgot? You forgot all about that stuff? You even remember, you who participated with me or through me seeing stuff you did not believe your eyes. You all forgot about this stuff. You did not teach your younger generations anything about the world prior to 1990, the way it was. Internet is packed with the lies, with the fake propaganda, with bullshit. We live in a completely distorted, insane world. I had a younger people teaching me about how to see the world. Babies spitting in my face for my not being compliant with the Russian violence, with the Serbian violence, for not getting, as they said, along, doing their best to demonstrate me their way, because they knew better than I did. Thanks to Joe Biden, thanks to George Bush, thanks to these people that participated in MK Ultra, like John McCain, entire US Congress that witnessed this stuff. This partnership is not going to work without guarantees, and the only guarantees are the ones that I outlined in this video. That's all there is to it. Ain't nothing else, there ain't nothing much left for discussion other than to do as I stated, and it must be done. It must be done. It must go in motion, this stuff. Have to start working on it to get things going somewhere. If I knew this stuff in 1990, how the Western allies would assist Eastern Europe in case of war conflict in the future, if Ukrainian people, if they would ask Ukrainian people, if Ukrainians would ask Americans, and they would ask British and others, well, we're gonna have a war situation, now tell us the outcome of this war, and they would give them what you see is taking place in Ukraine as the outcome of the war. Nobody would agree to depart from the Warsaw Pact. No country in Eastern Europe. Nobody would go and settle for this type of partnership. Nobody would go and settle for this type of alliance. Ukrainians definitely would not. Core of the country is missing. country is demolished, burned to the ground in many parts of Ukraine. If this would come to attention to Polacks, Czechs, Slovaks, and others, I guarantee you, nobody would settle for this type of alliance, for this type of partnership. Nobody would settle for Western, whatever West had to offer as alternative to the Soviet Union. Nobody would go for it. And whatever took place against Ukraine, if there wouldn't be Ukraine right where Ukraine is, it's Romania that would have to pay the price. Exactly what's happening to Ukraine, it would be happening to Romania. If not to Romania, it would be happening to Poland. If not to Poland, maybe it would be happening to both, to Romania and to Poland. Shitty, lousy partnership. I was very, 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 very clear about it. Nobody, if they knew in advance what this is going to look like, would consider as a possibility of any kind in 1990. We would have the borders of 1990 even today intact. Nothing, absolutely nothing, nobody would even move tail if they would know about what we have learned from Ukrainian war. It's got to be repercussions for this stuff. There's got to be a price. West has got to pay for this fuck up. There has got to be a different kind of guarantees. There has got to be a different kind of approach to this than direction in which the whole thing took place. It's gotta be something has gotta happen because of the way it happened, this stuff. Extremely poor, extremely bad. I assess this situation, consider this stuff. I was right there in the first line, on the first seat. I was the one who was interrogated, how I see things, and by the Swedish, and by French, and by British, and by Americans, all sides possible, and Dutch especially. Dutch and Swedish maybe more than anybody. And I did not envision this type of alliance, this type of partnership. This is something I did not envision. If I did, saw something like this, I would ask for the thermometer. So I would want to measure the fever these people had. I would definitely consider them as insane, and we would not be talking to one another, not even 3 seconds. I would never want to meet these people ever again if I knew whatever the fuck I have tested on my own skin and what I have seen have taken place in Ukraine. Not good, you understand? Not good at all. Not partnership of any kind. Fuck up shit, yes. Yes, partnership, alliance, no. Alliance of no kind of alliance. Let this be the window to reality. Let us never wander again into some crazy world of negotiations about Ukraine without Ukrainian presence. And really, this negotiation about Ukraine without Ukrainian presence, there is really stuff I talked about to consider. This is about Ukraine, this is about entire Eastern Europe, and as I stated, wherever the fuck Ukraine is gonna go, we should go with Ukraine. We are closer to Ukrainians than Germans and Americans are to the Russians. They claim, they feel they are very close, that they have much in common and so on. Well, we are closer to Ukrainians definitely than we are to the Germans. And if we are nothing, if the Russians are closer to Germans than what we are, then so be it. Then so be it. We're not going to stand in the way. We don't want to stand in the way to the Germans and to the Russians and to Russians and to Americans and to Russians and to the British. See, that's the point. We don't want to stand in their way. We want to correct this mental mistake these people have developed. The need, the urge for us to feel that we must stand on their way. We don't want to stand on their way. We don't want to stand on anybody's way. We just need to know how much we are in this world, valued to whom. And then we can make this educated decision in which direction to go. This is why this is educational video.